JS1, member of Rocksteady Crew, partners with Rozelle, the world's greatest beatboxer. I've been DJing since the late 80s. Year-wise, not really sure. Sometime coming out of grammar school, going into high school, I got turntables. Producing since early 90s, 91. I got my broken sampler, sitting in here trying to learn how to make beats. Been touring the world for about 7 years now. Worked with on my own albums, people from KRS-One, to OC, to G-Rap, to Planet Asia, to Dilated, to Ill Bill, to Royce and 5'9", J-Roo, J-Live, Common, Rozelle, C-Rays, Walls, Aesop, what was it, a Gemini? You know, like the little 8-second one with the big fat round pad on it, like, you know, one of them kind of style samplers, and a broken 4-track, had the broken Tascam, it was a 3-track, and we just sit here working on songs with a broken 3-track, and making mixtapes out of that. At the time, I didn't know as much as exactly what they were doing when you're a kid and you're listening to records. You know, you're listening to what's going on and stuff, but as I started to take notice of who's making the records, definitely Marley Marl was huge for me in the 80s. And of course, Sed G and Paul C. I leave them out a lot because most people, when they hear you say that, they're like, who the hell is that, or what did they do? Or if you even tell them what they did, they still don't really get the full grasp of it. And then coming into the era of course, you know, the Pete Rocks, the Large Professors, Diamond D's, and Dre. And then of course Premier is just my number one guy. I can't, you know, the scratch hooks. It's all about Premier basically. Well, Redman and Pharaoh, Rakim would be nice. I mean, of course there's a couple others, but I just know if I could grab any of those guys on a record, it would be great. I would love to be able to do that. I'd love to get LL on a record, you know, and bring it back and do some raw LL stuff, but what are the chances of that right now, you know? You know, when you're younger, me and my friends were trying to, like, you know, fuck around and make songs, and, you know, we have like a 45 King breakbeat record, and we're trying to, you know, write rhymes over it and stuff. And then from that, it kind of went to collecting different records to rhyme over, and that's when I just started having all this crate of records laying around. It's like, either we're going to dance to the record, or we're going to try to rhyme over it. And that's when I realized, like, hey, maybe I should get 2 turntables and just mix and scratch these records. My old memories, from just offhand from what I could think back, is I remember spending a hell of a lot of time at my grandmother's house, and she lived right on the corner where Left Rack is. And for people that don't know Left Rack, it's, you know, one of the projects in Queens, and it's an all urban community. And, you know, just being the little white kid growing up on the corner over there, spending a lot of time there, you know, hip-hop's all over the place. And I just remember I had a cassette tape. I wrote on it with crayon. That's to show you how old it was. And I remember it had, like, AJ on it and Curtis Blow songs. And I remember just running that tape and watching Beat Street and watching Breaking and trying to breakdance. Second grade, third grade, spinning around on the floor at my grandmother's house. My graph career is just as extensive as my DJing career. I've done tons of shit graph-wise. And that started in the late 80s for me, officially doing graph, and it's all, you know, it all kind of, same people, the people that I was rocking with graph, they were all into hip-hop, same type of shit. So that's really what it is, just being in New York, really, in general. You know, I was on some other stuff. I was on all the, like, Return to DJ records, did some scratches for people on their albums, but the first official record that was mine as a DJ JS1 record was the KRS-One Rozelle single, Essentials. And then I came with the G-Rap single, OC single, the Ill Bill single. It had Evidence and these guys on the B-side. J. Rue single, Rozelle single, the Ground original album with everybody on it, Claim Steak album, the Audio Technician album with all scratch stuff on it. All the breakbeat records, Rock Breaks 1, Rock Breaks 2, Scratch Roulette, Video Game Breaks. I mean, it's just a bunch of stuff. The trick is that, the first thing you have to know is you have to realize that just because you don't see someone on MTV or see them on the radio all day long, the amount of shows that someone like a Rozelle actually gets. He's #1 in the world at what he does. And even before I hooked up with Rozelle, I had no clue. Just as a fan, I'm thinking like, okay, Rozelle's great beatboxer. He probably does some shows. I had no idea that we've averaged 150 to 200 shows a year since I met him. I have a list of 700 to 800 shows that we've done. We've toured with everyone, with huge acts, from like we've done shows with 50 Cent and Eminem down to just doing, a basement in Stockholm. It's just, we're all over the place, and it's just really harsh because we really like to hit the road and really work. I've been offered some tours where it's like you do a show, you're off for 3 or 4 days, people are relaxing in their hotel room, but when we go and do shows, we're really out there. Like, we did a tour of Mixmaster Mike, it was 43 shows in 45 days. The greatest feeling in the world is having somebody truly appreciate what you do, because we deal with tons of shit, So, yes, to have these people appreciate what I do is the greatest feeling in the world. It's so hard to really explain. It's not easy to put into words. It's just like, wow, this is what I've been spending all these hours and years doing. And yes, it's great when people embrace it. And people overseas are really, really quick to embrace stuff, because the way it works over there, even though it's changing quickly too. But the thing is that over there, they don't have major radio, and they have MTV and major radio, but they don't have it the way we have it, pushing this stuff down your throat 24 hours a day. Over here, you really have no choice. It's like the president when he wants to say, we do this for our freedoms, but you really don't. The freedoms aren't really there. It's just you have a choice of 10 different things, and it's shoved in your face like this. But overseas, they don't have that as much. So kids will go online to search for stuff. What they like, they'll have to find it. It's not like they totally just take like, oh, this is what they're throwing at us, we have to like this. So we'll get a better response over there because people are just more open to different things. It's really difficult. But as far as how they come at you, yes, it's the greatest feeling in the world when people appreciate your stuff, and they do. I wish that I could show people in New York that when I'm standing in a place in Spain, in Italy, in Germany, and there's 25 kids, standing up in the front with my record in their hand, waiting for me to sign the record. It's like, I can't get that 5 minutes from my own house over here. But yet in Germany, there'd be hundreds of kids to show up to see me. So I really totally love it and appreciate it. And that's why we travel. And the other way around is, I've come to learn to really love what these kids do, because the DJs overseas are way better than the DJs we have here. For the most part, of course, we have the Q-Berts and Mikes and, me and Spin Bad, we live here. But over there, the average kid in the club will destroy any of the DJs over here. The DJ that gets on the radio over there is real good. They would have Revolution would be the guy doing the club, not Big Ben, with his chain on, or some, just some idiot guys. There's a whole mutual respect thing between a lot of the independent artists and overseas, man. It definitely keeps us going. We're coming with tons of records right now. I have a Man vs. Machine album with Rozelle, with people from, Aesop and Master Ace and High and Mighty and Dilated and C-Rays. We're all on that. To an album called Monsters, which is a concept album with me, Rozelle, C-Rays, and Dub L. I got more breakbeat records coming. Another Scratch Roulette record, which the Scratch Roulette for me did great. People are buying that everywhere. All these DJs love it. So I'm gonna keep coming with stuff that people appreciate and like. And I know my place in the world. I'm not gonna make the next Laffy Taffy. I'm not gonna walk into a club with a bunch of chains and get $12,000 to play CDs and scream. This is for people that are getting into DJing, starting DJing, or want to learn about DJing. When you see some of these scratch movies or DVDs, I'm not going to say a specific one, but just any of these movies related to scratching, don't always take it as the Bible. It's not exactly fact. It's cool, and a lot of the stuff they show on there is good, But when you have something based on scratching and Cash Money and Jazzy Jeff are in the closing credits, you might want to go back and look through some of the other stuff and try to weed out what's really important and what's not. They did leave a lot of people out on a lot of these movies, and just in general, I see the young kids coming up and what they look up to. It's cool, but everyone take it upon yourself to really go look into the history. If you're really going to get into it, really go do your research and look around, you know? And if you don't know who Miz is, and if you're not sure exactly what Revolution did, he's not just a guy from the Wake Up Show that did some cool stuff. If you don't know exactly what Rectangle does, you know, if you don't know exactly what kind of scratches me and Spinbed were doing in 92 or 93 before other people even thought about DJing, you know, then go look into it. If you don't know who DJ Riz is, he's not just a guy on KTU on the dance channel. Look into it. You know, that's all I have to say, really. It's just for all you kids trying to be DJs, look into it and don't believe everything that you hear somebody else tell you. It's probably not true anyway.
Hip-hop and the importance of the deep.
Harlem, NYC, play records. That's what I do. I play records. I've been DJing since I was 9. I'm 30. I started playing out when I was 15. I started watching pornography when I was 11. Played my first party in 1992. I've been playing out since then. I mean, other than weddings, sweet 16s, bar mitzvahs, baptisms, block parties, the jams. I started off playing anything I can get my hands on. My babysitter was a DJ, and he was just on some, you know, early 80s electro, hip-hop, rap, whatever you wanted to call it. It was just all one thing. I just wanted to be cool. I was in it from day one. I discovered the whole rave community and whatever just from like loving the music that I liked, the house music, what I thought was house music and dance music. Some people in Detroit were calling techno. Then some people in England started calling it techno. Then they started doing their own kind of it that had break beats in it, sped up hip hop beats, and I liked it. I liked the aggressiveness of it. I was just like, this is cool. So I stuck with it. Eventually that sped up breakbeat stuff turned into jungle, which turned into drum and bass, which is what leads us here. So 15 years later, and I'm still making a living, thank God. Digital Confusion is the crew. We started the crew in 93, 94-ish as a response to the rave communities. Kind of like, in the rave scene, there was two very, very distinct things that happened. Number one, in the hip-hop community at the time, I can't even say hip-hop as a culture, I gotta say it, the rap parties at the time, because, you know, you had your underground shit and whatever, you had like Brand New and the Native Tongues and stuff like that. We're talking 92, 93, the late 80s, early 90s. But then you also had rap. And you know, you would go out to a party at say Kilimanjaro's or Home Base or, you know, the Building or whatever back in the day, and you would, you know, bump into somebody, oh my bad, you know what I mean? And it would cause tension. The rave scene never had that at the time. There was none of that kind of stuff. But that mentality, the mentality of hip hop culture, of all that stuff, never really left certain people's hearts that found their way into the rave community from those communities, you know what I'm saying? And there was no place for there was no group of individuals where B-boys and B-girls, writers, DJs of a certain type of mentality could congregate. From working and playing at this club NASA, which was like the first rave style event in New York City, the first like breakbeat event in New York City, a bunch of us just started chilling. We grew up in the shadow of the Zulu Nation. We grew up in the shadow of peace, love, unity, and having fun. You know what I mean? Of like, fuck the boundaries, fuck it all, just have a good time and just be respectful and learn as much as you can, whenever you can. And we took that idea and brought it into the rave community for ourselves. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, for me, honestly, like, it was just one of those, like, it was nice to be able to go to a club and not worry about whose girl I'm talking to or whose sneakers I stepped on or whose drink I bumped into the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got real tired of that shit. I knew people that were getting killed because of dumb shit like that in clubs, you know what I mean? It wasn't working for me. So I went into this direction and the music fit and it all fit and I'm just here now. It's their hip hop. And the same way that we treat UK hip hop here in the States with a little bit of disrespect, even if the shit's hot, people look at it and they're just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Even Canadian hip-hop, with the exception of somebody like, you know, Cardinal Official, exactly, you know what I mean? Or like somebody like that, or somebody like Chaclair, the whole like, you know, the whole like Circle crew from over in Vancouver. With the exception of a very, very small few, even Canadian hip-hop, same continent, North America, has not crossed over into the hip-hop community here in the States. And stateside drum and bass is only just now starting to make major inroads, but only individuals. We haven't been accepted as a whole, as a community. Only individuals, certain producers, you know, are starting to be accepted because their music is now commercially viable, and because a lot of UK labels are starting to pay attention and say, hey, you know what? The United States is a viable market. We can sell records there. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing in that, yes, they're going to start paying more attention, but it's a bad thing because, yo, we're doing our own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the reasons why, you know, a subgenre of drum and bass jungle known as hipstep occurred. I did a couple EPs for Liquid Sky. I've had 3 or 4 tracks on there on the Liquid Sky labels on, various compilations. I did a couple of 12 inches for a label called BML. I've done some remixes. Like, I'm a better DJ than I am a producer, to be quite honest. And I grew up in a school of, I grew up at a time in the world, or at least in New York's community, where DJing, you know, was important for 3 reasons. Number one, you entertained, which is first and foremost. Number 2, you educated. And number 3, you were the record buying community's direct line. You were the pulse of the record buying community. So it was up to you to play records that the next morning kids would go to the shop and be like, yo, Odie played blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, word? Here's a copy. And it's all a big, it's, you know, circle of life. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta check your flyers, man. I got a lot of shows coming up. I got a lot of things happening.
Let's rock now!
www.djod.com/audio/mixes. That's all my mixes. download them. I don't update my site too often just because I'd rather use it for mixes and pornography. So
DJ Grand, the movement, the level. Here with my man Odie at the Concrete Jungle. I don't know what to say.
I got way better posture than this, by the way. I'm just real cold right now. My nipples are starting to rub on my t-shirt. It's not comfortable, so I'm out. Peace.
Yo, 2 fingers, as usual.
Mac, New York City, Washington Heights. I promote music and I teach 5th grade. I promote any sort of music that I think is positive music. I do drum and bass, I do hip hop, I do progressive house music, not progressive English house music, deep house music, Detroit techno, not boom 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 techno, Detroit techno, Paul Craig, Derek May. I've done live band shows. Kind of looking to work in the future is Apollo Heights. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I've been doing Concrete Jungle for about 12 years. Right now I'm looking at doing a series of hip-hop and drum-based collaborations with the proper venue to do it. And I'm talking to some West Coast people, I'm talking to some people with the Execution and Rock Radar. In the UK, it's much more of a popular music. Here it's pop music, and it's never really grown outside of that. I think about 6 years ago, drum and bass was more popular in America. And there was a point where it got too much into rock music, it got too dark and too heavy. I think it drove away a lot of the people who were into like more soulful, the more rock part. It's a struggle, it's an uphill struggle. There was a point when we were the in thing, it was a trendy thing, everyone was into it. That was around 98. And then it went to a downslide, and now people are doing it are really in it for the love of it. And it's an uphill struggle to get people to be conscious of the music and the diversity that's available. Well, I think Jungle's strength has been that the people who are into it have been stayed really loyal to it. But a weakness of Jungle has been that there are more DJs than there are fans. The people who are so into it, they become DJs, and that we've sort of spread ourselves out really thin. And so that we really need to work on taking Jungle to the next level. I think one of the things that Jungle has never done, drum and bass has never done, seriously, is to work with MCs. There's always been sort of like KRS did a thing with Goldie, but it was like one person here, one person there. And there needs to be more serious collaborations with MCs who are aware of the drum and bass, with DJs who are aware of the MCs. Not simply, I play my music, you rap over it, or I'm going to rap, you play beats behind me. There needs to be more serious collaboration.
Representing ingenious music, digital confusion, hip-step massive, IQ, ingenious creative unique experiments, representing New York City, Harlem, international, worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Hip-hop, drum and bass, hip-step, hip-hop influenced productions, stimulating the earth people. You know what I'm saying? Just doing it.
DJ IQ. DJ IQ.
I've been DJing since, let's say, 1984, when I started as a youngin. Got into hip-hop, you know what I mean, as a child. Just grew up listening to it. My older brother, Odyssey, used to play it all the time. Stay up late listening to the radio. Just the hip-hop vibe, it just like grabbed me. I was intrigued by it. Then I would say one of his friends came over around like 85, 86. That's when my brother seriously got into his DJing thing. And he had the equipment. So once his man came over and was scratching 2 copies of a record, I was like, oh shit, that's what I'm listening to on the radio. That's what I like. So ever since that day, I was hooked. I was determined to learn the hip hop game, DJing with the scratching and all that shit. And ever since then, it's just evolved. Like the skills have evolved, the music has evolved, and in the early '90s, like I discovered jungle drum and bass. Odie, who took me to my first rave. That's how I discovered the jungle style, and ever since then, that was like hip hop reinvented for me all over again. The beginning of hip step, for me, as IQ, like I said, I discovered drum and bass, jungle, as they called it, in the early '90s. Odie took me to this party called NASA, and we all ended up spinning at the club NASA. I was playing in the back room hip hop. They had a chill out room playing hip hop, so I was playing hip hop in the chill out room. Odie, the first time he played in the main room, and I actually, that night, I played in the chill out room. So it's funny because he dug through my crate, because he played before I had to play in the back room, and like picked out the hottest joints that I had at the time, hip hop, reggae, and he incorporated those in his set mixed with the jungle style, which was at the time called jungle hop. And it basically, the jungle hop style, which is hip hop influenced jungle or drum and bass, evolved to hip step in the mid 90s, like I'd say 95. Yo, this is DJ IQ, the original New York City, NYC native, bigging up Movement 19, you know what I'm saying, and Genius Music. Check it out. Adios! Rewind. It's my boys DSF, yo. Genius Music.
Movement 19. Man P. Swift reporting from New York, man. Had a good time. Next time, peace.
All right.
My style is